There was one Nayak Harshvardhan. Four of them were climbing that hillock, and the Pakistanis, they threw a grenade. Now the grenade came and fell right in front of Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan used his presence of mind. He said, if this bursts, all four will go. So he just stamped on that. So his leg went up. So when he was being brought back, so I could see the bone and the blood. I could see it. So I just looked at him and smiled and said, Harshu did this, smiled. In international politics, nobody has any friend. There are only relations which matter. In India, we have a civilizational behavior. Your enemy is not civilized at all. It is when Chhatrapati Shivaji taught us a lesson. When you have to fight adharma, whatever you do for protecting dharma will not be termed as adharma. So Afzal Khan got killed in that manner. Shaista Khan got hit in that manner. He escaped from Agra without even giving it a second thought that what will people say. No, wars are costly business. One BrahMos, it is so costly, and when you start firing, remember, Pakistan will have others to provide, but we will have our own finances to spend.
Welcome to the Bridge Chronicle, and you are watching Bridge the Gap, our special series. And today we have a very special guest with us, Lieutenant General Mr. Vinod Khandare.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome in our podcast series. It's very special opportunity for me that I'm interacting with you. In the morning, we had session about war and peace, and now we have you, where we will be discussing more about war and strategies around it. Nevertheless, let's start from your journey, from academic excellence to military. Born in Chhindwara, MP. You have your roots in Vidarbha, Maharashtra. Your father was in services, Indian services. He was into post and communication department. You traveled as a child with a family. You traveled across country, and you are the first one from your family to join military. What was the motivation, sir? I mean, in 1978, you joined military. At that time, I mean, today we have stories that drive us towards military. What drove you towards this way?
Good afternoon to all your viewers. And Sheetal, your point is very valid. What was the inspiration? I think my generation went through a lot of turmoil and turbulence in the country. We had possibly just 2 decades prior to that, we had become independent. I was 4 years old when 1962 operation started. When operations start on the northern borders, the entire country gets shaken up. And that was not a war that people fondly remember, because we lost. And from a loss, the entire nation got shaken up. So that was the first memory I have. Then 1965, within 3 years. At that time, my father was posted in Delhi. And we still distinctly remember the sirens, the air raid sirens and the trenches. My father used to be duty officer in the head office there. So that also had some impact on us. Then 71 war was something where every Indian is proud of. At that time, I was in school, in NCC. So our interaction with people from the military who used to be our instructors. My schooling and my college, better part of it was in Indore, and there is a cantonment next to Indore which is Mau. Our frequent viewing of officers, soldiers, that definitely would have had an impact. But did I want to join the army right from childhood? No, that was never a thought. Maybe because my father was in civil services, so a thought came to my mind at that stage when I was in college, that let me prepare for the civil services. And my professor, Dr. Kumar, he had put, I think, every hope, or he was aspiring that there were two of us, and both of us incidentally joined the army, much to the disappointment of our professor. Dr. Kumar, he wanted, and my senior was Colonel Nitin Bhatnagar, at that time just Nitin Bhatnagar. So Dr. Kumar wanted him to join, then from the next batch he wanted me to join. We convinced him that let us have an attempt at the examination, competitive exam, and we will know how to prepare for the examination. But around that same time, while the admiration for the armed forces was there, uh, the other thing, what my father also used to say, my brothers used to say that army is a very clean organization. Meritocracy is there because there's nothing like reservation. There's nothing like interference from the political side. So my brothers were in forest department in MP, and we used to see what kind of interference used to be there. So my brothers also used to say that army is quite good. So appeared in the exam. The first time I did not even go for the interview. So I got a call again that we are having one batch in which those who have not come. So I went for that and cleared it well. Medical, because I had been a sportsman all through. So studies wise, no problem. Health wise, no problem. So then when the list came, so I was in that. And that is the time my father, he retired from service. Now, any honest bureaucrat will build his house from his provident fund loan. Now, at that time, my two of my brothers were undergoing training for forest. One brother was in medical college. Pension cannot fulfill all this. So I decided that let me go to the army and 5 years short service. After 5 years, I'll see what I want to do. But once you join the army, it's like a family. It's a tight, well knit family away from your biological family, and they didn't let me come out. They just insisted that I have to stay in the army in my battalion. My battalion is like a family. So that is how I think I joined.
So a boy or a young man who joined army with the thought that he will retire from army in 5 years has spent almost more than 3 decades, almost 4 decades in
More
army.
than four. Yeah.
More than 4 decades in army space. How this journey has been? I mean, was there ever a conflict in your mind that what I had thought of and where I am now?
No, there was no conflict because one more thing, like in typical middle class Maharashtrian families, there are sanskars which come to you from your parents. A very tightly knit family, four brothers, mother fully devoted to the family, father was doing everything that he could. So, one thing I think we all learned from our parents was whatever you do it well. And just live for what you can do good and keep moving. There will be setbacks, there will be successes. And I think this is given in Bhagavad Gita also that happiness should not make you unbalanced, and similarly, setback should not put you in misery. I think that somehow right from childhood. See, we all, when we are in school, kuch na kuch, something we go through. Every time you don't come first in class, no? Every time you do see failures also, you do see successes. Then I think one more thing happened as a sportsman, like all my brothers, they were doing something or the other in sports, hockey, football, cricket, swimming, basketball, badminton. There you learn to take life in your stride. Okay, you won, so there is another match coming. You won this tournament, then there is another one coming, and most of the games that we were playing were team games. So in team games, you have to be together. Every time you cannot be the only hero. The team is a hero. So I think all that put together, this entire journey, no regrets at all. Absolutely no regrets. And to a lot of it is because of the ethos which we have in the armed forces, where you are a leader, but you are a leader because your team is good. If your team has to be made good, you have to be devoted to that, and it goes both ways. So I think there was never looking back, and Okay, after I retired in January 18, then I got into NSCS, I got into ministry. So I think all in all, everything is satisfactory.
Destiny also.
Yes, absolutely.
Very inspiring journey, sir. You mentioned an NCC. You have been part of NCC
Yeah.
in your college days, school days. You also mentioned about team, your battalion being your family, and you mentioned the word sanskar, values.
Yeah.
So of course, some of it comes from family, and you for someone like you who has almost has a second family, where army or
Yeah.
battalion is your family, is there any particular value that this service has added to your life?
Yes, see, one of the most important things in the armed forces is if there is a crisis at national level, then I have to detach myself from my family because I have to accord priority there. And that has been proven n number of times in the sense when I was on the glacier, my mother was very sick. She was actually being hospitalized off and on. She couldn't stand up. She couldn't. She was in tremendous pain. So I asked my commanding officer. I said, "Sir, I know this is a very important uh, tenure here, but if you give me some leave, I will quickly go and see what I can organize." At the same time, I must tell you that I had very good friends from school and college. So the moment I reached home, they said, "Why did you come? We will look after." And they looked after. I went back. I went back relieved that, and my parents, to a large extent, they were looked after by my friends. Because see, Indore we didn't have relatives. Our relatives were in Vidarbha. So what do I do? So I felt my friends, very close friends, and till date we are very close to them. And so my priority is nation. Other things there is somebody else to look after, but that part I don't think anyone else can look after. So fixing priorities, what is more important and what is it that someone else may not be able to do, but there is some other urgency in the family which somebody else can do. So I think that I learned coming into the army.
So keeping nation first.
Yeah.
uh, like you just mentioned, you were at glacier in on one of your assignment. You were posted at Siachen, the highest altitude
Yeah.
warfare,
Yeah.
and apparently world's highest battlefield.
Yes.
So what are the operational challenges on when while working in place like Siachen?
See, I
And
must take you.
also, like it's very difficult to keep your team's motive
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So
You
a
know,
little
this
more
is the
about it.
point which very good question that you asked. Siachen is very challenging, and I must tell you, Captain Sanjay Kulkarni was the first officer who jumped from a helicopter, and he was the person who established the post there. 84. We went there in 88. Now, uh, the winter is extremely severe, so summer is the only time when Pakistanis used to attack us. 84 we occupied. By 85 they were kitting themselves because the entire equipment clothing has to come from Austria, Finland, Sweden, because nobody makes it here, because nobody requires it here. So I think 85 they used for their kitting. 86 they attacked us, 87 they attacked us, 88 they attacked us. And you know the best part? The brigade commander for the special troops SSG was Parvez Musharraf. And on all three occasions he lost. He kept it in his heart. So when he became the army chief, he wanted revenge for that. Very few analysts are able to connect these dots. You know, he nurtured it in his heart that he had not been able to throw us out of the glacier, which he had claimed that special troops, we will just throw them out within no time. That's again something Pakistanis are used to making tall claims. So that was the time. Now, how were we surviving? Minus 45 degrees or more. Altitude is very high. Oxygen is not there. You know, the country was giving us good rations. We couldn't eat. there's no appetite, because in extreme cold climate, lack of oxygen, on our tongues there used to be a coating, so your cells for tasting, they go dead. So you have the best rations there, but you don't feel like eating. So in fact, in those days we didn't have tents there, we didn't have the oil bukharis, so we used to carry a small uh, stove, that pump wala, and so that used to be burning. And the parachutes which were used to drop rations for us, we used to put those parachutes, and the rations come on a wooden board tied to that wooden board. So we used to open that, use the wooden board, and with a sleeping bag we used to be there. Difficult days, but I think because we stuck out, we stayed, so today we are very comfortable. So what I am trying to say is, I am not advocating that it should be like this even today, but okay, today there are places where people stay for 3 months. In our time, we were staying there for 6 months officially, but 1 month before to take over the post and 1 month to hand over. So essentially, the officers and some of the JCOs and COs used to be there for 8 months. By the time we used to come out of the glacier, very easily we could make out that something has happened in our health. Either our hair would go grey, we would go bald, or there will be tremors in your hand. So something or the other would happen, because obviously that's not a place for human beings to be.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And the other thing, we would all lose weight. You're not eating anything, and you're not only are you walking, climbing the rope, carrying ration for people. Like where I was, that was Sonam, and I had two posts which were under me. So one was Amar and one was Bana. Bana is the highest post, incidentally. So there, to climb Bana, it's a vertical rope. So you put on crampons and you put the weight on your back and you climb the rope. Why? Because there are 10 people staying on top. They need kerosene oil, they need food, they need medicine, they need oxygen cylinder. Oxygen cylinder only for an emergency, not daily. That luxury we didn't have. So now I have 20 people here, he's got 10 people there. So out of the 20 people, we would leave about 5, 6 manning the weapons, and rest of the 10, 15 we have to climb, because you can carry only 10 kilos. That's the maximum. So whether you are an officer or whether you are a Jawan, you are doing every duty same. And while we used to climb the rope, so they used to be firing heavy machine guns at us, artillery. So you're fighting nature, you're fighting the Pakistanis, and at the same time, as a leader, you have to inspire them for two things. Firstly, not to be scared. Secondly, be well, stay well, because if you fall sick, to remove you from there is a Herculean task. Because my post did not have any land route at that time, so a small helicopter used to come, which used to, in the first sortie, it could only carry 20 kilos. So it used to go back midway. So I've sent, they would have sent one jerry can of kerosene oil. So what goes back is the soldier who's going back now, his rucksack. So now the fuel is getting used up in the helicopter. So next time when he comes, he can carry about 60 kilos. So the soldier goes into that. Third time when he comes, I can put one more soldier in that. So that is the kind of logistic nightmare which continues even today. The helicopters which we use are the original French Alouette helicopters. The French never flew them at 21,000. For them, Alps is the maximum that they can look of. Europeans, how much? 10,000, 9,000, 8,000. So when the French saw us using these, they were shocked. They said this machine is not designed to fly in such altitudes, in such temperatures, but you guys are using it. So that goes to prove that our pilots from the Air Force and from the aviation, in those days we used to call them aeropi, they're such brave pilots that it is because of them that many of us survived.
Very inspiring. Now, I think every question is going to inspire me more and more because you have so many stories to share. The next that comes is Operation Vijay, the most
Yeah.
challenging warfare that India experienced in your days. Kargil conflict. You were placed at Garhwal Rifles at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
You were a commanding officer at
Yeah.
Garhwal Rifles.
Yeah.
So when you got orders to go and fight the enemies on border, can you just walk us through what had happened and how you encountered with it?
Many a times what happens, some decisions are being taken in Delhi, well-meaning decisions, nothing which is against anyone. So somewhere in 1997-98, the government of the day decided to increase the retirement age. Okay, so everyone got 2 years more. What did it imply? Nobody was retiring, so you were not getting promoted. So your commanding officer would be 2 years older, and that is one lesson which came out of Kargil, that our commanding officers were old as compared to other units in the in infantry in other armies, and then that was corrected. But that year, 2 years was something where no promotion. That was the thought, and Kargil happened. Now suddenly there was a requirement of young SCOs. So I got an order. I was at that time in headquarter 25 division on staff duty as GSO1 operations. So I was told, move, take over your battalion. So I moved because my predecessor was nominated for a career course and he had to go. So I reached there and I took over, and Operation Vijay started. Now, when Operation Vijay started, I distinctly remember it was intense firing. While Kargil, Batalik, Daras, Mashko, these are the places where the actual combat was happening. But we were also given orders by Northern Command that you have to engage the Pakistanis and inflict so much of casualties on them and damages on them that they should not be able to shift anybody or anything from there to the area where we were wanting to regain our peaks. So we started with real intensity. So obviously he also retaliated. So I think 27th of May 1999 I took over, and 27th I had 5 casualties, 28th I had 3 casualties, 29th I had 2 casualties. Now you look at how the troops look at you. A new CO has come and we are suffering. It could happen. It didn't happen, fortunately. And in fact, my brigade commander, Brigadier Saigal, very fine officer, he asked me on 29th, he said, Vinod, you think your boys are feeling so? I said, no, sir, they may not be feeling, but all the same, uh, why are we not retaliating? Why should we just keep suffering?
Defense.
He said, no, there is no restriction on retaliating. But what do you want to do? So I said, sir, I want to fire with all that I have, no restriction. He said, okay. He spoke to our general officer commanding of the division, Major General V.S. Yadav. So General Yadav rang him. He asked me, what do you want to do? I said, sir, just whatever I have. I'm not asking you for anything extra. So he said, okay, go ahead. 30th early morning, I went up and 81 millimeter mortars and machine guns and everything that possibly I had, we fired everything and chose targets and engaged. Whatever was not visible, that is where the high trajectory weapons are able to engage targets on the reverse slope, which otherwise you can't see. And that had a major effect on the Pakistanis because they thought they were safe. They thought Indians would not respond so heavily. So starting at I think 5 or 6 in the morning, I think it was 5 in the morning, early morning. And that is what I had thought, that early morning everyone is a little carefree. At night you're tense. So that is the time to catch them. And by about I think 10 o'clock, 5 hours of intense firing, There was utter chaos on the other side. There were lots of casualties on the other side. And I said, okay, stop. Now we stop, because the weapons were also quite heated up. And then I got to know from the higher headquarters, because they were monitoring the communication, that we had created a lot of damage to the terrorists, and one leader of theirs was one Baba Saida. He had been killed. And Benazir Bhutto next day came.
Yeah, she visited.
And not only that, I think we all are very good at innovating. So in our base, my wife had come because there was a summer vacation. My children had not seen me for quite some time. So they had come, and suddenly this whole thing started. So they were in a bunker. So they came out when the firing stopped, and they were watching Pakistan TV. Pakistan TV did our job easily. Whatever were the losses, they were reporting. And my wife was watching. So she told me that, look, this is what has happened. So we then immediately started watching. And wherever we had been successful, we repeated it. Wherever we were missing it, because they were reporting, their media is just like us. So we corrected it. So I think another lesson learned.
So you just mentioned that your family was with you on field when you were at Kargil. So I think it was an additional challenge to keep their motive also intact. How did you manage this?
See, actually, she just came because May, you can see, that was the summer vacation. And my children had not seen me for quite some time.
How old they were, if you can mention?
99 means one was about 14 years old and one was about 8 years old. And that is the formative age, no, that they want to be with you. And when this firing started, so I had no choice but to tell them to get into bunkers. But why were they there? So my first thought would have been to send them to Delhi where it is safe. But we got orders to say that please don't move any families, because these roads, on these roads, they could be ambushed or they could be taken hostage. They are safe where you are. And in addition to that, don't increase traffic on the road, because we need that road space for bringing ammunition, taking down casualties. So they stayed there. So they saw it firsthand. Yes, it had an impact on my wife's health, definitely, I must say. The stress, and obviously every night I was ahead. What would be going on in her mind? Whether I come back, I don't come back. If I come back, in what state do I come back? So I used to go out and come back only next morning, or after I had met all my boys and gone to a particular post, stayed there with the boys, made them comfortable. Comfortable in, not logistically, operationally. When they see a commanding officer with them right in front. One day my elder brother, obviously, see, nobody is in the military, so they have no idea what I am going through. So elder brother rang up and we have an exchange. So where the calls come from outside. He rang up, he said he wanted to talk to me. So the exchange told him, sab, nahi baat kar sakte, aage hain. My brother doesn't know aage piche kya hai. He has no idea. He got a little angry. So he must have told the exchange, no, I want to. So that boy whispered to me that your brother is getting angry. Let him get angry. I will talk to him later. Zyada kya, डांट देंगे. He'll scold me. I'm the youngest, so obviously he'll scold me. I will listen to him. Where is the problem? So next morning, I came back. I rang up. He flared up. Then I told him what it is. So he says, okay. Because the place from where I was, if I was to speak, the Pakistanis would hear. Is that close. Even if I whisper in the dead of the night, the voice travels. So I just cannot do that. Because if I do that, the problem comes for the boys who are on the post, So it's not only my immediate family, it is my extended family, it is my friends, and the families of my soldiers, So, okay, my family is there, I'm looking after them. My soldiers, their wives are there, their mothers are there, their children are there. So I used to make it a point to tell them, okay, once in a while, come back to the base. So in the morning, we used to get a few of them. If you recollect, in those days, we had those STD booths. So you stood in a line. So we stood and we spoke.
Sir, in one of your operations during 2000, Ring Contour Raid, where you eliminated 26 Pakistani soldiers, no fatal casualties at your end, if I'm not wrong. Can you share a little more about this operation, how it was planned and executed?
See, what was the necessity of this operation is what needs to be understood. You know, by July 99, Operation Vijay was called off for reasons which have international ramifications, political ramifications. Does it change things on ground? It doesn't. On the line of control, we continue fighting. And if you also remember, December end 1999, this aircraft got hijacked to Kandahar. So things were not getting better. In between, in October, Pervez Musharraf had overthrown Nawaz Sharif's regime. So things were getting complicated, you know. So in February 2000, one group of Hizbul Mujahideen or Harkatul Ansar, I think, and Pakistan commandos, they came across to one of the battalions in my brigade. They raided that post called Ashok, and they took one soldier alive and killed the other 8-9 of them, burnt our post totally. Bhausaheb Talekar was the name of that person who was taken alive. And then they went down, and that is POK, and in a ground they faced our post and they beheaded him in full gaze of everyone. And then this group was led by an ex Pakistani commando or SSG, Ilyas Kashmiri. You can see on Google, it is all there. And then he takes that head and gives it to Pervez Musharraf in a tray. Now you can connect. Historically, they have been doing this. Son will behead his brother and then give it to the father. They are done. They are made like that. So I am not surprised that this happened. But Pervez Musharraf gave 1 lakh cash prize to this lot. Point important is their government, their terrorists, their military are all on the same page. They are not separate. And this demanded a response. So now this particular battalion, logically, it is in our ethos that if something of this happens, we will take revenge. We are not going to ask anyone or we are not going to wait for orders, but this will happen. This is one part of our ethos. So this battalion was wanting to do that, but the very next day when the battalion commander changed, the previous one went out and the new one came. We have a tradition, the way our troops follow religion. So the commanding officer went to the temple. He laid down whatever he had to and he was going up to his command post when an artillery shelling happened and his leg broke. On day 1 of his assuming command, his leg broke. Now look at how the battalion is looking at it. One tragedy, second tragedy. So, and everything in infantry revolves around the commanding officer. So a new commanding officer is brought in. He is not from this battalion. He has never served in this area. He has no idea of the terrain or the enemy dispositions. Now, this battalion was not in a condition to take revenge. So we were 5 commanding officers and we were asked. So I volunteered. I said, I will do it. So the situation was quite desperate at that time. So our army commander was General H.M. Khanna. The moment I said this, I could see he was relieved that there is somebody who is wanting to do it, and he was very relieved and he looked at me. He said, son, I am happy you volunteered. What do you want? I said, sir, weapons, other things, I will all manage from my brigade. I am sure everything will be taken care of. I have only 2 requests. And I think the situation was so desperate, or maybe it was the personality of our army commander. He said, yes, tell me. I said, sir, nobody should ask me when am I going to do it, what am I going to do, how I am going to do it. I have volunteered, I will do it. I will choose the best time, I will choose the best possible target, I will make a plan and I assure you it will be a success. Okay, fine. He said, nobody should ask. So there only he gave orders. He said, what else? I said, sir, normally senior officers start visiting. I'm in an area where nobody comes. Now suddenly helicopters start coming. So the entire plan will leak, or at least the intent will leak. He said, oh, nobody will come. So we prepared, I chose people. In fact, I must tell you, when you are commanding a battalion about 850 people and then you have other attachments from artillery, engineers, air defense, it becomes a good about 1000 people. Everyone was wanting to go. So I said, okay, listen, there are some people who will play the role of center forward. They will score a goal. But there are others who have to be in support. So everyone understood that, okay, this is how it is. So we chose 20 people, two officers, Major Amitabh Roy and Captain Bhupendra Khandka, and 18 soldiers. And on the night of 27th, 28th, they infiltrated very slowly, gradually. They crawled, not making any noise. The others were busy keeping the head down by firing at the loophole precisely. My soldiers are of about 5.5 feet, Gadwal rifles, maximum 5 feet 8 inches, and there was a 8 feet or 10 feet wall. Now, how do we get inside? So that is the time when we had planned earlier, well thorough plan, that we will use explosives to blow the wall. So that wall was blown up. So operation had to start with my telling one person, Kulwant Singh, to fire rockets. So I was standing next to him, and at 5 o'clock, I remember, I told him, fire. And he fired, and these people blew the wall and rushed inside. Pakistani bunkers are two stories, lower story, upper story. They all went into the lower story. Now we were on top story, they were inside. We couldn't reach them, and they were throwing grenades at us. My soldiers were getting injured with the grenades, but we had carried enough explosives. So right on top of the bunker, we would put explosive and blow it. So they would get trapped. Some tried to run out and escape, so we killed them also. I think the first time when a drone may have been used in operation was during this time.
Okay.
We just got, I think, 2 drones at that time, and one of our most excellent officer was one Brigadier Randhir Singh, who later retired as Major General Randhir Singh. He rang me up, and he had just come from, I think, UK. So he said, do you know how to use drones? I said, no, I don't. He said, we've just got 2. I know how to use. So you send me your best officer. So I sent Major Nand Kumar to Jammu, and he was on hotline with me, and he would tell me that the drone is on top and he can see 10 people moving on that track. So I would then engage using mortar fire, which Major Sipaiya was controlling. So that is how the drone also came in. The bravery of the soldiers was there. This fight continued for a good about 2 hours. It continued, and I think 6 of those Pakistani soldiers jumped out trying to run, and they fell in their own minefield. So all this was going on, and my brigade commander had insisted he wanted to come and see. I told him, "Say, you come in this bunker. My officer, Captain Nalin Gupta, will be with you." So he was there with him. I told him, "Don't let him come out. You do everything right, and if a brigadier gets injured or killed, then the whole thing goes bad." Now, when the crucial time came to disengage, that is the time he started firing artillery and mortars on his own post, because he realized that everything was lost and he must get back at us. And that is when my boys got injured. But nobody died. So maybe again something which at the right time I must have understood, that there is a requirement of a bigger reserve force than the actual one. So I had 40 people led by then Lieutenant Mohit Mamgayan. I told him, he rushed in, picked up these people and brought them back. So while they were coming back, I was seeing each one. I had to count. No, in military, you don't leave an injured soldier back. You bring in every weapon and you bring in every soldier of yours. So when I had counted, all of them had come. So we had put them in different bunkers, because he was firing artillery now at us, mortars at us. We had an excellent doctor, Arun Maji, very strong doctor and physically fit and professionally very competent. He was going to each bunker. You have to actually remove the clothes to see where are you injured. So he was doing that. And my soldiers were so good, they were quiet. There was nothing. They just completed their job beautifully. And the moment I used to go and ask them, in Garhwal Rifles, when you address a soldier, you call him Bhula. Bhula means younger brother. So that is my bond with them. So I used to say, Bhula, kahan lagi? Sab yahan lagi. Kahan lagi? Yahan lagi. So they would show and that would. One particular incident in this was while Amitabh Roy did everything absolutely right, one or two things I'll tell you. Captain Khandka, when he was firing his weapon, the barrel burst. Now he was there on the target with his barrel burst. He just took out his kukri and started. So that was one fantastic thing which I saw happening. There was one Nayak Harshvardhan. Four of them were climbing that hillock, and the Pakistanis they threw a grenade. Now the grenade came and fell right in front of Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan used his presence of mind. He said, if this bursts, all four will go. So he just stamped on that. So his leg went up. So when he was being brought back, so I could see the bone and the blood. I could see it. So I just looked at him and smiled and said, Harshu. Harshu did this, smiled, used some abuses in happiness. And we moved him back to the hospital. So he lost his leg, but we kept him in the battalion and he retired as a Subedar. I think honorary captain also.
Okay.
So we look after our people. There was Gabbar Singh, in Garhwal Rifles, Gabbar Singh is a very common name. And Gabbar Singh, when he went and he got injured here in this part, we didn't know because when that wall was blown up, there was dust and there was total chaos. You couldn't see, but because we had planned it during daylight, so we still could see. So Bhupendra Khandka said, "Ye kya pada hai?" Gabbar Singh was lying there, and immediately Mohit picked him up, took him away. We put him in a helicopter, took him away. He also retired as a Subedar. All of them are alive. And what we do on every 28th of October, we all talk. What did we do after that? We called this operation Rahul. Major Amitabh Roy's son is Rahul.
Cool.
So we called it after him. And Amitabh Roy was also in hospital. So I sent my vehicle because his wife was staying in Jammu. So I sent the vehicle. We didn't have mobile. We didn't have any communication. So the driver, when he said, "Mem साहब आपको CO साहब ने बुलाया है." So he says, "क्या हो गया?" नहीं कुछ नहीं, सब ठीक है. And I had told him, don't bring her to Naushera, take her to Rajouri, to the hospital. I will come there. So I arranged for some other vehicle and I reached there. So when I reached there, by then Nidhi had reached. So for us, when I am a battalion commander, every officer's wife is like my daughter. That is the relationship we have. So she had gone, met Amitabh, and Amitabh smiled and she said, "You okay?" He said, "Yes, okay." Then Amitabh said, "Nidhi, बाकी बच्चों को भी लगा है चोट, तो आप उनको भी देख लो." So she went, and by the time I was reaching, she was walking back after seeing all of them. I had gone to another hospital where there were other boys. So I just looked at her and she smiled. I said, "Nidhi, ठीक हो?" हाँ. कर्नल खंडारे आपने मुझे बताया नहीं. That is the response we have. I only told her, बेटा मैंने अपनी वाइफ को भी नहीं बताया. ये ऐसी चीजें नहीं बताते हैं, इसलिए हम लोग सब जिंदा रहते हैं. So that is a kind of conversation we have.
brave, and I think I can now relate why you call your battalion your family.
Yeah.
I think they are more than a family to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And every soldier who's fighting for us on boundary right now.
Yeah.
So I'm speechless, frankly, after listening to this experience. It's not easy, right? Neither for you, not for your team member, and definitely not for your families.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sir, you're going to your next operation, for which you were awarded with Sena Medal for gallantry.
Yeah.
In 2001. Again, Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist group, I think you fought with, and 17 terrorists were eliminated in that operation. Some experiences from that.
See, how it happens on the line of control is, line of control is very active life. You're fighting, and people in rest of the country do not understand also, because we don't tell them. It's not their fault. So intense tenure there, 2.5, 3 years, then you are pulled back. And when you are pulled back, then you are put in the second tier to block the gaps. Now, this was a period of 2000, 2001 when we didn't even have the fence. Everything was open. People could infiltrate in large numbers. So we were put in the second tier. So we were put in the second tier behind the forward tier battalions. So while we were trying to get intelligence out of who's coming from across, so obviously you have to do something different. So I had my sources, I had my intelligence, JCO, Subhadar Pratap Singh, excellent. With him, there were NCOs, there was Ramesh, there was Chaturanand. These were fantastic people. They found out and they said, sir, there is a group which is going to come from this area. Now, there are 5 gaps, but will they use those 5 gaps? Will they use 1? Will they use 3? We had no idea.
No intelligence for this?
No, my boys were finding out intelligence, because that is how you have to do. The IB and all are not there. It is for us to find out. So, I asked Subhadar Pratap Singh, can I meet the guy who is organizing this? Yes, sir, I'll organize. So, I went to a particular point right on the line of control to meet these people who were triggering of these things. Obviously, for these people, it is business. It is huge. Those people who are pushing the ISI guys and all, for them it's an industry. So when I met somebody there, and he said, this group will come, we can indicate. And we can indicate, see, I'll tell you, Sheetal, I don't trust a Pakistani. I never trusted them then. I don't trust them today. So I said, whatever he's told me is all bakwas. He is going to use more than one gap. I told him that you try and indicate. So he fixed up a signal. I told my boys, we will block all. And we will ensure that whoever comes, we are going to be prepared for that. So it is actually tough on the boys, because so much of area to be covered day and night. We saw that possibly it was a dark night. So this is the night when they will come. And sure enough, the first group came, and night about 9 or 10 o'clock, we had one Naik Yashpal. He fired, and there was a scramble, and you could make out that some people are running and somebody is hurt, somebody is just made a like that sound, but it is obviously there. Now at night, normally what you do is you close the cordon and seal it so that they don't escape. We tried to do that, but somehow they managed to get out. But at the end of our cordon was Lieutenant Amit Prabhakar. So he fired at them. So they turned and came back. Now you can make out they must have been injured, they must have been in a shock that they had not expected this. So they came and hid in a nala. And early morning at about 4 o'clock, Major Nand Kumar, his team, my team, we started following the blood trail. So in between we saw 2 weapons lying there, 2 bags lying there. So it was very clear, 2 people definitely. And there was a lot of blood. See, my troops from Garhwal, they are very good. They are good at tracking. They can touch the blood and say, "Saab garam hai." मतलब इधर ही है, ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है. So we kept doing that, and as we were going down, suddenly from the Nala, fire came on us. So they possibly thought we had seen them. We had not seen them at that time. So immediately we readjusted. Then the same Lieutenant Mohit Mamgan who had gone on Rincon tour, he came. There's another officer, Subir Sondi, he came. So they all, and these were all officers with just 2 years of service. Where were the seniors? I had been thinking that the seniors had worked so hard on the line of control. There is a professional exam called the Defense Services Staff College, very important for their career. So I told them, go prepare for that. We were moving to a new area, Samba. So I had to send 2 officers there. The person who was to relieve me from commanding officer position, I told him, you go on leave because then you will not get leave. So he also went on leave. So I had only youngsters, but very good youngsters. And so they all, but the actual experience of this kind of operation was only with one Major Sipahi and me. So while we were doing all this, in that firefight, one rifleman, Ram Singh, he got injured badly. Later on, we lost him. So we named this operation after Ram Singh. This was on 5th of June 2001. Now, why I remember is 5th of June is the birthday of my youngest son. And a normal person would be on leave. He would be with his son cutting cake. कुछ कर रहा होगा of this type. I was stuck here. No issues on that. My son, my wife, they don't know what I am doing because they were in Delhi at that time. So we actually surrounded them, we closed, and the whole purpose was that by evening we have to finish this operation because if it gets dark, they will escape. So we finally, Sipaya was firing rocket launchers, I was firing rifle, and we kept on going closer and closer. So we had to crawl, and as we kept going closer, so they were throwing grenades at us. Luckily, the grenades were going over us onto a step on top. So we were not getting injured. I think they were seeing us, and suddenly one terrorist came up wanting to fire at me. So maybe better reflexes. So I fired first, and he got hit and he fell. So while he was falling, so his hand was on the trigger, and I think the whole thing got pressed, and the entire ammunition went up. On top was where Mohit was there. Mohit got hit, and the boys who were on top, suddenly there was a sound. Saab ko lag gaya. And I looked up and I saw Mohit's blood coming, and for a minute I thought, not a minute, just a second, I thought we lost him. Now there was a bit of concern, anger, but we had learnt one thing from our seniors. When you are in operation, control your anger. If you make a mistake in that anger, then there is a lot of damage. So I controlled myself and I just told them, no noise. And we entered, and there were 7 terrorists whom we could kill there. Now, one of my senior brigade commander, he said, good, well done, 7 killed, call off the operation. I said, no, I think there are more. So how do you say that? I said, see, this is the evidence. Each one of them is carrying a stick because the load is heavy, so they carry the stick. So 7 people killed, 7 sticks located. There are 4 more lying. Now where are those 4? A person doesn't carry 2 sticks. So I have to get at those 4. And by the time we were speaking like this, and while this talk was going on, so we were taking out the bodies, taking out what stuff. We were carrying huge currency, latest currency of India. I had never in my life seen a 1000 rupee note. I saw it for the first time there. I thought it is counterfeit because as a military officer, what is my salary? What is the kind of money that is available to me? I have never seen it. So my boys said, "Sahab, ye pata nahi kya hai?" I also said, "I don't know." The brigade commander was standing behind. He said, "Arey, this is the latest currency note. Latest currency note of mine I have not seen, but the Pakistanis are bringing it in. There's something wrong with us." Anyway, that counting had to be done. So while that counting, so I told Major Sipai, count. He says, sir, this is tedious. Let's go for another operation. And that is the time when we had a contact with 4 more. And the neighboring battalion, which was on the outer cordon, they and Major Nandkumar, they killed those 4. Now, when we killed those 4, we found they were also carrying sticks. So, there are more. So, again, my brigade commander said, no, now enough, 11 you killed. I said, sir, 4 sticks more. Where are they? They must be somewhere here. Now, Ram Singh had lost his life. Mohit had been evacuated. And while we were doing this, so one of my junior most officers, Piyush, I looked at him. I said, "What's happened here? Your eye, there is some blood coming out." He said, "No, sir, nothing." I said, "No, there is something." He said, "Don't worry, sir." I said, "No." So one of the brigadiers there was Brigadier Rana. I requested him, "Sir, you are going to your headquarters. You will be passing the hospital. Why don't you take him along?" So he took him along, and luckily, uh, his eye survived. Now that was night of 5th June, and while Brigadier Rana was going, so he just asked me, because now we had killed 7 and 4, and there was a pause. We were still wondering what to do next. I was very clear about one thing, that Ram Singh's body with full ceremonial honors has to be sent home. So I was wanting to do that, and Brigadier Rana is from my regiment, and he knows my family well. So he said, "Aaj kya hai?" So I said, "Vineet ka birthday." So he said, "Okay, मैं जाके I will give a message. Don't worry." Because I was in the jungle, obviously I didn't have a phone or anything. So he went to Rajouri. Piyush Shukla was in the hospital. He came to the phone, rang up my wife. He's elder to us, so obviously he calls her by first name. So he said, "Vasu, all well? Vinod is fine." So she said, "Vinod is fine, matlab? Why?" No, I just wanted to wish Vineet, and Vinod will call you up later. He's a little busy. So Vasu, she felt odd. So she still asked him, "Brigadier Rana, from where are you calling?" It was instinctive, without any motive, but he said, "From the hospital." Now, what must have happened to my wife? She immediately rang up her brother, who was in Pune. He was for Raj Tak. They have, I mean, you all are from media, you have a network. So he rang up somebody in Jammu, Ashwini Kumar. Ashwini Kumar found out from the PRO Udhampur. They said, yes, an operation is going on, and Colonel Khandare is fine. He's leading that operation, but he's fine. So that message came. So I, by then, sent Ram Singh's mortal remains home, and I got yet one more message that another 6 terrorists have been located. So I rushed back again, and we again started the whole thing. Now this was, so by the time we finished this operation, we had 72 hours not slept, and we were doing one thing after the other. We were doing things right by God's grace and by elders' blessing. But in between, I managed to uh, reach a place where all these had been killed, and they had taken, I think, 4 of the villagers hostage. So we were able to free them, take them home, put them in their place comfortably. And our army commander was General Rustam Nanavati, one of the finest soldiers we know. So this was, I think, about 9 or 10 o'clock. A message comes on the radio set that army commander wants to talk to you. I said, radio set, army commander, not advisable. So the moment that officer told army commander, he said, he's right. Why are you wanting me to talk to him on radio set? So then ask him, how much time will he take? So that colonel asked me. I said, listen, we are in the middle of the jungle. I don't think we can reach anywhere in civilization before early morning. So that colonel must have told Jannar. He says, just tell him, army commander will be awake throughout the night, don't worry. at about 3 or 4, I think I don't remember. I think must be 4. We reached one remote post from where there was a telephone, battered telephone. So from there we rang up the army commander, and his only point was, congratulations, you've taken the operation to a logical conclusion. That is what I like. I think he had come to know that somebody was wanting to make me stop. Then we came back, and then I rang up my wife. So she said, what happened? So I said, rest I'll tell you later, but Mohit is injured, and Mohit has been evacuated to Delhi. She didn't ask a question. She just got up, took my younger son, went to the hospital, and the R&R hospital is huge in Delhi, massive. You got to walk a lot. So she was walking along that corridor, and at the end of the corridor, there was somebody bandaged and all. And my younger son said, "This is Mohit uncle." So she said, "Nahi, Mohit uncle kahan? Wo to he's injured." No, he's Mohit uncle. And Mohit saw, and he walked. He must have limped or whatever. And my wife looked at him, Mohit, you injured? Yes, ma'am, I am injured. But by blessings of elders like you and by God's grace, I am alive. So what happened? So he said, ma'am, I got hit here with a bullet in the nose, and that bullet turned and came and stopped in the jaw. And they were not able to stop the bleeding, so they couldn't make out. So at R&R, we have the latest machines and everything. So they were able to see. So they have taken out that bullet and given it to me. So he showed that bullet. He still carries it today. Now all these officers, Mohit is taking over a brigade, I think in another 2 days. Not brigade, but he is getting promoted as a brigadier in ASC. Amit Prabhakar is a brigadier already. Piyush Shukla is about to become a brigadier. So these are the boys, and Amitabh Roy retired as a brigadier with a VRC. So this is what you call as my family, as my team, and all of them know all these incidents. So whenever we meet, we have lots of things to talk about.
Absolutely. The curious question is, did you wish your son?
Yes.
When did you wish your son, rather?
I think I wished him on 8th. 5th was his birthday, and he understood because, while he was 10 years old, but during that summer vacation, whenever he used to come, he used to see my lifestyle, and he understood. He, till date, I don't think he has any complaint on that. But again, this operation also, I named it after Ram Singh because Ram Singh lost his life. Um, you know, you have to give it an appropriate name that for number of years together, the battalion gets inspired by this. In that operation of ring contour, there were people who told me that you must cut their heads and bring. I said no, I am a soldier. I am not a terrorist. I am not Harkatul Ansar or Hizbul Mujahideen. I will bring their weapons. The biggest disgrace that a soldier can have is that his weapon has been taken away. So we brought a heavy machine gun, we brought another machine gun, we brought a Chinese assault rifle, and today these 3 weapons are displayed proudly in my unit quarter guard. And every new recruit who comes to the battalion as a soldier, or every new officer, they go through that, they are told this story so that they remember that this is the kind of lesson that we have to follow.
Sir, in your career as a front runner on a war field, and towards the end, a strategic man, strategic brain behind all these strategies, when you joined DI, Defense Intelligence Agency, and I think for 3 years you were Director General with DI. So, what exactly? Because I think it's a very recently formed institution and one of the defense reforms of our country. So, little more about the reform and your role in it.
See, post Kargil, there was a group of ministers who were assembled to find out what can be done better. And there, see, everyone keeps talking about intelligence failure. Actually, everything is not intelligence failure. Information is given. Information and intelligence are two different things. But at least when DIA got formed in 2002, so intelligence from all 3 services, from Intelligence Bureau, from our embassies abroad, RNAW, NTRO, technical human intelligence, satellite imagery, signal communication, the radar signatures, which is called ELINT, all that has to be put together so that what can be called as fusion of information, and thereafter the analysis and experts sitting down and then making assessments that this is what seems to be happening. And then you compare it with what others are saying. What is BSF saying? What is RNAW saying? So, then we have something known as multi-agency center, and on a daily basis we used to meet and we used to say, look, this is my analysis, this is my assessment. Information can be 1000, but what is my assessment? That is important. So that is what DIA started doing, and the advantage that we have now is this is tri-services intelligence. We are looking at what comes out of the space, we are looking at what comes out of cyber. So all that put together, and this got validated when we did surgical strikes, when we did Balakot, when we did Sindoor. So we are moving from one position to another, but simultaneously what we have to continuously do is technology keeps changing at a very fast pace. So he gets technology actually free of cost because he gets it from China, he gets it from Turkey, uh, he also gets it from USA. That is what we can make out. When you are looking, people have a very bad habit of saying that he has friends, we don't have friends. In international politics, nobody has any friend. There are only relations which matter. So if some country is giving us some intelligence, be sure that they would be passing it off to Pakistan also. So that is the kind of strategic thought process that we must have. And you look back to ancient wisdom. What did Kautilya say? What did Sri Krishna say? What did Sri Ram do? What did Shivaji do? There are so many examples, and if you do not learn from your own examples, you can create any structure. But if you don't have the human capital which is wise, which is well educated, training can be with a weapon, but education has to be based on what are the tactics going to be used, what is the strategy going to be used, where is the deception. And most important, which I always tell my men, or I used to, and even now I tell them, there were two terms which our forefathers used: Swayambodh or Atmabodh, and second is Shatrubodh. Know yourself, what you are capable of, what are your handicaps, what is it that you need to improve, and second is Shatrubodh. Understand the psyche of that person. If his psyche is, he's very polite to you, Janab, aap kaise hain? That doesn't mean that he's your friend. And don't get fooled, because in India, we have a civilizational behavior. Your enemy is not civilized at all. And he or she will behave in a manner that they want to destroy you. So, when you start analyzing and assessing, you have to also look at all these things through a prism which is suitable to analysis. You cannot be saying that, like in our society, you forgive. Prithviraj Chauhan forgave, and what happened? And that is when Chhatrapati Shivaji taught us a lesson. When you have to fight adharma, whatever you do for protecting dharma will not be termed as adharma. So Afzal Khan got killed in that manner. Shaista Khan got hit in that manner. He escaped from Agra without even giving it a second thought that what will people say. No, you have to be alive to come back.
Strategical.
Strategically, you create a strategic depth. People talk of Pakistan creates strategic depth in Afghanistan. Chhatrapati Shivaji taught us how going to Jinji helped when Aurangzeb came down and Rajaram was there. All these lessons are extremely important to strategize. Multi-front war. Wasn't Chhatrapati Shivaji fighting multi-front war? He was fighting the Adil Shahi, he was fighting the Qutub Shahi, he was fighting Nizam Shahi, he was fighting Mughals, Portuguese, British, and within himself. There were so many people who didn't want him to succeed. So, nothing should be viewed in a manner that we are inferior. We are not. Like Again, one more thing where DIA, your intelligence is important. Wasn't intelligence one of the primary things of Chhatrapati Shivaji? He knew exactly what is going on in the mind of the adversary. I think these are all lessons. If you are able to connect the dots, you can do. And I think I was able to do it.
Sir, in your career, you also have served as a military advisor, a very well curated post where you worked with Mr. Ajit Dovalji
Yes.
in National Security Council Secretariat. And as you rightly mentioned, that strategic decision making is extremely important in terms of along with intelligence and information that you receive. I think during your tenure, we experienced Pathankot and Uri surgical strikes, right?
Yeah.
So beyond House the Josh, what all went in this process of strategy for while this operation was happening on strategic front? I mean, if you can share
Yeah.
without
Okay.
any conflict.
See, one thing which is very clear around that time, connect to what happened. Prime Minister Modi comes in 2014. 2015, on his way back from Afghanistan, he goes to Lahore. He extends a hand of friendship. Atal Bihari Vajpayee had done it earlier also in 99. He was cheated then, we were cheated again. So that's what I'm saying. Shatru both strategically, they will never ever be trustworthy. Okay, so that is one. And within a week of Prime Minister Modi coming back from Lahore, Pathankot happens. Again, we are doing restraint. We say, okay, you send your intelligence people and tell us which is this Tanzim which has done it and why. Nothing happens. And then Uri happens, and that is the time we decide we have to teach them a lesson. And in a very excellent manner, because that core group, I was a part of that. And how we used to meet, when did we meet, where did we meet, nobody knew. And decision, there is nothing, no frills attached that we are meeting in a place where there are waiters, nothing, absolutely nothing. And all that what is done and executed, whatever reports were prepared, if 7 reports, copies were to be prepared, 8th will not be prepared. And then after that, I would take back all those reports and destroy them. Mr. Manohar Parrikar was the Raksha Mantri at that time. So I was advising him also at that time and Mr. Doval also, because at that time I was DGDIA. So that was one fantastic experience as to how things happen but never leak. Nothing leaks. And at the end of it, in fact the night when this was being done, so I was out with one of these two people. And I came in the morning and my wife said, "Kya ho gaya? What happened?" I said, "Sab kuch theek hai." And then my son came and he said, "Wo TV pe aa raha hai. I think dad was there." I said, "No, I was not at Uri, but I was somewhere here." And that's all. We don't have to talk about it more. So all the hard work which is done in field, you have a role as an elder. You have a role where they should not be let down. In your exuberance, you should not do something where suddenly you find that you made a mistake. There is no scope of a mistake. And that was the time when I can assure you, Army, Navy, Air Force, political leadership, the Foreign Ministry, the Intelligence Bureau, the RNAW, NTRO, they were all on the same page. And it was so beautifully executed that finally that film which got made is fine. I have no issue. But at times the film also has to sell. So when they say that the NSA or the one shown breaks the mobile every time, no, that doesn't happen.
I think a lot goes in your head, and your commitment towards your nation, the job that you are doing, that keeps your values so high that you don't have to break your phone every time and don't have to be so dramatic in real life.
Dramatism is for TRP and for, I think, collection of the money. But at that point in time, we are only ensuring that nothing leaks. You know, for that, if I have to change a mobile, I have to change a SIM, I will do that. Nobody has to tell me that, you know.
True. Sir, I think in your tenure, you has experienced many. I think each case we can have independent podcast. For example, Abhinandan Varman's written. Also, Article 370 abrogation had happened. After that, before Kashmir before Article 370 and Kashmir after Article 370, military plays a crucial role in all this transformation process. We also, I think, in your tenure, only Galwan.
Doklam, Galwan.
Galwan conflict has experienced. I mean, it had happened. You have experienced it. So, I mean, in like more than 4 decades, you are in or aligned with military operations or strategy. So, I mean, in each operation definitely requires a different set of strategy.
Yeah.
But what are the common elements that keep you motivated throughout this process?
See, one is straight away you decide on this is a challenge and you are in the center of it and you have to do it. There is nobody else who can tell you how to do it and you are a part of the team. So it's like a well-oiled machine. You have to do something based on which the apex level will also be aligned to what you are doing. There is a political objective, there is a political goal which has been designed. So if in some case there is a conflict avoidance, so you have to play by that. If there is a particular selection of target, say for example in Sindoor, the political objective, why? Even in surgical strikes in Balakot and Sindoor, the political objective is very clear that we are not going to compromise on terrorism. We will hit out at terrorists. So in surgical strikes, it was like the launch pads. In Balakot, it was a training camp. Balakot is the village there, but the actual place is Jabbar Top. So that has to be hit. This time, in Sindoor, again, the primary focus was the terrorists and the civilians not to be harmed. We also don't want our civilians to be harmed, so we also set a rule. So then if you have to hit terrorists, then plan as per that. But then there is something known as an escalation ladder. If I do this, what will he do? Then if he does this, what should I be prepared for? So that is called the escalation ladder. And any time that you get to conflict termination, you should be a winner. Otherwise, don't terminate it there. So that is how we strategize and we plan in every such operation. So even in surgical strikes, when we General Ranbir, when he rang up the Pak DGMO and told him that look, we've hit your launch pads. We have no intent of increasing this unless you want it. Then we will see. So it finished. Balakot, similar thing happened. Unfortunately, when Abhinandan fell on the other side, not his fault. He was doing something which is expected of a fighter pilot. And then we did something right in getting him back. Now, whether it's a threat, it's a live threat, and then they have to do it. And obviously, there are many players in this, The External Affairs Ministry also plays, RNAW also plays its role. So, everyone does its job. And now the recent one where Operation Sindoor, when the Prime Minister said it is on, and he said Indus Water Treaty, a lot of people thought, he's just woken up one fine morning and said Indus Water. No, it is not that. Article 370. It's not that one fine morning Amit Shah woke up and said, yes, hoga. For years together, a lot of research is done. Article 370, the legality of it took years for everything to be tested. Indus Water Treaty announced review or suspension in 2025. Work was on since 2019 or even earlier than that, but 2019 I got involved, so I know that. So what, at many places people do not understand that nations do not work or function on whims and fancies. They function on researched work, and research is not so easy to obtain.
Yeah. I will definitely like to take your concluding message for youngsters on the similar lines. But before that, as a military advisor or as a DGDI, you have contributed a lot for military reforms, defense reforms. You just mentioned. पाणी घ्यायचंय sir?
नहीं नहीं ठीक. Hmm.
You just mentioned like a lot of research goes into it. So during your tenure as a advisor, researcher, I mean beyond warfare, I'm saying, what has been your experiences with these defense reforms? I mean, if you can share
Yeah.
about it, would like to hear.
See, one of the things which in my entire service I used to see the kind of equipment, the kind of ammunition that we used to get, and that is a live example which I can share with you. The grenades that we had, number 36 HE hand grenade. In the Operation Ram Singh, we must have thrown so many grenades, but not many of them burst. But the terrorists were throwing Chinese grenades at us, and all of them were bursting. So I was always carrying this in my mind that this is not fair. Similarly, when we went in for Operation Rahul on ring contour, my soldiers told me, "Sir, we are not going to carry the Insas rifle. I don't trust it." This is exactly what my soldiers told me. Amitabh also told me, "Sir, ये तो नहीं ले जाएंगे." So we took AK because that's a dependable weapon. So while we did all this, what is going on in my mind as I grow up in rank in my service? I have to do something about this. And I got a chance when I went to NSCS as the military advisor. In numerous discussions that I had with Mr. Doval, I told him, we need to do this. And he discussed with Mr. Rajnath Singh. Then obviously we were told, given a go ahead, okay, go ahead, do it. There had been already 4 committees for reforms in ordnance factories. Ordnance factories, the British left 14 ordnance factories for us. There was not a single ordnance factory in Pakistan. Today they have 14, we have 41. And if something is not happening correctly, then you got to correct it. Don't expect others to come and correct. And most of the work that happens in ordnance factories may not be high tech. BrahMos is high tech, I would say. ISRO is high tech. But making a rifle in today's world, why should it be high tech? So that is the time when the private sector was brought in, Atmanirbharta, multi-mode grenades being made by somebody. And then General Subroto saw me and then Colonel Vinod Ramchandran, he is a brigadier now. So we started working on this and we put up a study after visiting the ordnance factories and seeing for ourselves what is going wrong. You'll be surprised, every week there used to be an artillery gun or ammunition bursting, grenades bursting, tank guns bursting, and people getting killed. You get killed with the enemy action is excellent. There's no problem in that. I'm saying, although our people should not die there also. But why are you getting killed with your own ammunition, with your own defective equipment? So that is when we started working on this. And 2019, the presentation was given to the Prime Minister. One was about this part. Second, the cost. Finally, defense budget is also taxpayers' money.
Yes, yes.
The costing of a combat dress, that is a jacket and a trouser, we were being charged 3,150 by the ordnance factories. And in Gopinath Bazar in Delhi or here in Mumbai or in Pune, it was costing 1,200 rupees. So when General Rawat told the Prime Minister, "Sir, I can kit 2 of my soldiers or give that soldier 2 sets," the Prime Minister immediately agreed. Similar was the case with vehicles. If the country's budget of defense is getting diverted to such things, then how will we modernize our defense forces? So I think a very wise decision was taken, and corporatization of ordnance factories, where the chairman of the ordnance factory board, who was a British legacy, that was knocked down. See, you remember the capital during British time was in Kolkata. They shifted to Delhi. The ordnance factory board was still there. What kind of a logic was this? So the reforms came at a right place. That's been, I think, about 6 years or so. I'm sure the government will look at it whether, because they've converted those 41 into 7 DPSUs, Defense Public Sector Undertaking. So each is now a group of industries of similar type. So if it is rifle, so rifle, ammunition. If it is tanks, so tanks and ammunition. So like that. So that was one, I think I can very proudly say that one step in the positive direction.
Interesting. So reforms is not only about correcting laws, processes, but also about weapons, corrections in the processes related to it, production of weapons for that matter, and also about finances, defense finances that you
Yeah.
just mentioned.
Yeah.
I think a lot of work goes behind preparation
very
of
true.
all this, and great that you have been part of this, and we are able to know some of the insights from you. Sir, coming towards the conclusion of our podcast, you have been recognized with Param Vishishta Seva Medal,
Yeah.
Ati Vishishta Seva Medal, Sena Medal, and the incident, like the story behind that medal you mentioned, Sena Medal Gallantry, Chief of Army Staff Commendation Card, Army Commander's Commendation Card, and also UN Medal
Yes.
in 1993, which is more close to your heart.
All. I'll tell you a reason for this. See, Sheetal, when people get awards, you're not the only one who's done it. There's a whole mechanism behind that. So if I got a Sena Medal Gallantry, my entire team was happy. Everyone could not have been given that. If I got Chief's Commendation Card, that was when in 2010, Kashmir Valley was actually burning, and agitation and stone throwing and the kind of infiltrations that were going on, and I was at that time officiating as the GOC. So if I get a commendation card from the chief there, it is a recognition to the entire Kilo force, the counter-insurgency force, and when they read these, they say, okay, we've got it. They don't say he's got it. They say we've got it. So similarly, if I got Ati Vishesh Seva Medal or Param Vishesh Seva Medal, my entire team, and for me, all those people who worked with me, different people worked during different times, extremely good teams that have worked. And okay, many a time you feel that you should have got, your team should have got more medals. You raise your voice also, but in a very polite manner, because we have our way of doing it. So like during Operation Rahul, I said, no, I'm not satisfied with the kind of awards that are given. So we have our own exchange of words, ideas, and then somebody said, but why? I said, no, we need to give. So some more came. So that kind of thing happens. So more than what you get, you're looking at whether your team have they been recognized or not. So that is the kind of involvement.
I mean, so far, whatever you have shared, I think this is what kept you where you are. I mean, you in all your experiences, in all the incidents that you shared, you have always kept your team first and their morale and their motivation first. I think that kept you going. I'm sure about it.
Yeah.
Sir, throughout what I learned from this podcast is army is not only about taking revenge or fighting your enemies. I think it's a lot about knowing yourself, keeping yourself motivated, keeping your family motivated, keeping your team motivated, keeping your team intact. It is a lot about defense decisions, protocols, processes involved in it.
Yeah.
And I think as a generation we have a very what I say very limited perspective
Yeah.
to look at army. So what will be your message for me and the coming generations, like what should be their perspective towards army, and what will be your message from your life experiences for them?
See, there are few fundamentals which should be very clear. People feel army is there to fight a war. I say army is there to prevent a war. The point is, if 2047 is our goal, that the next generation should be in a developed country, how does that happen? You look at Ukraine, they've ruined themselves. Let us say we had continued with Operation Sindoor in kinetic operation. Wars are costly business. One BrahMos, it is so costly, and when you start firing, remember, Pakistan will have others to provide, but we will have our own finances to spend. Nobody is coming to us as a godfather to give us. So you have to be sure about what you do. So wars are not something that, a lot of people met me. Arey sir, why did we stop? We should have gone all out. I said, what is the end goal? Is the end goal to get embroiled and ruin your economy? Or the end goal is you send a message which is of some deterrence value for some time to some people, and okay, if he does again, you again teach him a lesson. So that is what I feel. Militaries have to be understood. See, nations decide whether we go to war or not, and militaries execute that plan. So that is the most important thing that we have. A lot of people ask me, sir, tell me how can I join the military? I said, better, all of you cannot join. All of you should not join also. Each profession is as important. Today, when we talk of comprehensive national power, you talk of economy, you talk of political stability, you talk of diplomacy, you talk of intellectual capability, you talk of technology, you talk of civil defense, you talk of Atmanirbharta. How will that happen? If all of us go to fight, who's going to manufacture? Who's going to do research? So all of us are equally important. So my advice to most of the youth always, which I have been saying, is be an excellent citizen. Be an excellent citizen, and you just will see how the country will progress, because you've seen just in the recent few days also, your internal cohesion is a very big challenge. Your internal security is a very big challenge. Nobody wants to see innocent civilians getting killed. But lesson to learn is from countries like Israel. Uh, every person is the eyes and ears of the state. So if you have 1.4 billion population, you have 2.8 billion eyes and ears. Provided you inform if you are seeing something wrong. If you ask anybody, did you see something wrong? Yes, sir. Then why didn't you? So what can I do? If there is a gap between the police and the citizen, where the citizen is uncomfortable reporting, or the citizen is uncomfortable going to the police station, but the criminal is comfortable going to the police station, then there is something wrong and we need to correct it. And these correction can be done by us because it is our country. So whoever is wherever is, whether it is corruption to be prevented, quality of education has to be improved, quality of health has to be improved. If you have 1.4 billion people who are neither skilled adequately nor are healthy, how are you going to win? And wars will be fought in the end, and wars will be fought to win. Wars are not fought. This is not Olympics. One will get gold medal, one will get silver. Either you have won or you have died. So that is serious business that we should look at.
Thank you for interacting with us, sir. I take this opportunity to invite you for the Geo Vision Summit that Saka and AP Globale are going to conduct. Thank you for your time, and I'm sure your experiences from your life are going to enlighten our lives and our thought process. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving so much of time, because these are the messages which are there not only for the youth but for the complete society, whether they are in government, public, private, whether they are abroad, whether they are NRIs who are coming here and doing things for us. All of us are into it. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir.